Thank you for your valuable address, Mr. Pankaj Satija. Ladies and gentlemen, making in India and making a difference. Jindal Steel Power Limited epitomizes the youth of India. And with these words, I would request Mr. V.R. Sharma, Managing Director, Jindal Steel and Power Limited, to kindly share his insights on the industry.
Good morning, friends. Shri Satpati ji, Shri Dilip Oman, Shri Arora ji, Shri Satija ji, and Dr. Gautam, my friends. It's a very good platform to speak on technology. Though technology is a very vast subject, in few hours, in few minutes, we cannot cover it. But one thing is for sure, that the resources may be unlimited, but creativity is not. All of us are working in this country. The country has a dream to reach to 300 million ton. Today we are at level about 120 million ton. We welcome the entry of the ArcelorMittal. The SR is now ArcelorMittal. So it's a good sign for the country that multinational companies are coming in country, and the dream to reach to 300 million ton will definitely be completed one day, because more and more multinational companies, they too come, they bring the investments in the country, is better for the country. When the multinationals company, they do come, they bring a lot of experience, they bring a lot of technology, and the dissemination of knowledge, that starts from there. I think now the time has come for the country to come to a very matured stage of steel mills and steel technology. We have been struggling for the last 100 years. Till 1990, we were at a level of just 14 million ton. In 2000, we reached about 50 million ton. In 2020, we are at about 120 million ton. I'm sure by 2030, we'll be at more than 150, 160 million ton. I'm not expecting by 2030, 300 million ton. Because, as rightly said by Mr. Dilip Oman, the customers are more demanding now. They are looking for value for money. They want high strength steel. They want low thickness, high strength steel. This is how people developed X60, X70, X80, now X120. Lightweight, high strength. So that is the mantra. That means low in tonnage. This is how we have been experiencing every day. So it's a good sign, and steel industry is all geared up to meet out such requirements. Time has also come to install more and more design institutes in this country. We have to take lesson from China. Most of the Chinese steel mills, they have their own design institutes. And these design institutes, they support in terms of designing the equipment, bringing the technology, sometimes homegrown technology, and sometimes they do the collaborations with the European or American companies, and finally they excel in each and every area. The best thing in China is they find the easiest solution to the complex problems. So this is something we have to learn. The other good lesson and good example of China is that they do not import plant and machine as plant and machine. They always import plant and machinery as an engineering, basic engineering, detailed engineering, and they do manufacture within their country. And so they have been doing it for last 20 years, and they are quite successful. I think the time has come now for the Indian steel industry to put up their own shops for the manufacturing of capital goods, equipments, for machinery, based on the technology wherever they buy from. China has a written policy that at least 50% of the goods, 50% of the equipments are to be built within China. And this is how India has to do. India has to do not 50, India has to do 75% equipment has to be built in India. And that time will be a mature time for the Indian steel industry. Tata Growth Shop was put way back. Hindustan Steel Works was put way back. ISJAC, Indian Sugar and General Engineering Corporation, is existing for many, many years. BHEL existing for many, many years. L&T is existing for many, many years. On the same path, we in Jindal Steel and Power, we installed our equipment manufacturing division 15 years back. Today, we are manufacturing equipment for self as well as for JSW and for many more organizations. We are open to work for anybody, and this is how we are doing. And we have found that we could save at least 30 to 40% in terms of overall cost when we produce in India versus we import. So this is something very encouraging. So I request all of the steel plants, they should have their own design house and they should have their own equipment manufacturing divisions. As far as the technology is concerned, today the blast furnaces are not treated to be very environmental friendly because it has to have sinter plant, it has to have either pelletization plant, or it has to have the coke ovens, and finally we feel that overall CO2 generation is very high. And all the way the coking coal has to be brought into the country either from Australia or from Russia or from Colombia or from America. So there is a dependence of lot of imports in putting a blast furnace, looking to those kind of cumbersome activities and very difficult imports, especially when the dollar to rupee is always imbalanced. It used to be 37 rupees 10 years back, and today it is 72 rupees. And we do not know where will it end, maybe 80 rupees, 90 rupees, 100 rupees in next 3 years, 4 years time. Now, what we thought in 2007 to install a coal gasification plant. So how to produce coal, how to produce gas from coal, that is gas is syngas, synthesis gas, having calorific value of 3,500 kilocal, duly reformed, and how to utilize this gas into DRI. So this plant was started in 2014. It has been running intermittently because the coal was not available, and we didn't have the coal mines because the coal blocks were cancelled by Honorable Supreme Court in 2014. So we were struggling to find the right quality of coal, right grade of coal to run these gasifiers. So we were keeping it on, off, on, off, on, off mode. But finally, from this month in January, we have reached to an understanding with MCL, that in Mahanadi Coalfield is a part of Coal India. Now they are supplying us regularly the coal of desired quality or from a desired mine, which is very near to us, about 40 kilometers. And the gasifier is running in full swing. We are producing about 200 tons per hour from the mega module. Shortly we'll reach to 250 tons per hour of DRI. So we have 7 gasifiers. Each gasifier is 35,000 nm³ each. The total gasification capacity is 225,000 nm³. So this is the first time in the world that regularly, continuously, 24/7 a plant is running, and the first plant in the world based on Indian high ash coal to syngas and syngas to DRI. This is the first plant in the world making DRI. Again, the first plant in the world where we have started injecting coke oven gas into DRI. So at the moment we are injecting about 10,000 nm³ per minute, and shortly we will elevate it to 60,000 nm³ per minute, and then our requirement of coal will be reduced to 1/3. So whatever the coke oven gas we have, we are injecting now. Already we have started injecting 10,000 nm³, and it will be very soon 60,000 nm³. And as far as the cost is concerned, I'm open to share with you, because once we disseminate the knowledge, then there's a lot of encouragement in the business sector. From Indian highest coal to washery, and washery to retort, that is gasifiers, and gasifiers to syngas through erectisol process, which is a very clean process where the H2S is less than 2 ppm. Our cost is $7.5 per MMBTU, equivalent to any gas available in the country, which is like natural gas. So natural gas is available at $12 or $12.5 or sometimes $14 per MMBTU. But our coal gasification gas cost is $7.5 per MMBTU. The day we inject more than 60% of the gas, so our overall gas cost will be $3.2 per MMBTU, because coal gas we had to discount it because it is a byproduct for us. So with $3.2 per MMBTU, we become the lowest cost producer of DRA in the world. We have a plant in Oman where the gas cost is only $2.5 per MMBTU. So still this gas will be cheaper, because if we set off the byproducts, what we enjoy from the coal gasifiers, be it in terms of gas oil, tar, ammonia, phenol, solvents, then we become much cheaper than $2.5. So by all means, this is the best route today available in the country, and we wanted to demonstrate it to the whole world, that Indian coal, which is bestowed by God, which has been buried under the ground for millions of years, I think its time has come to convert into gas, gas to DRI, gas to the last value chain of the carbon footprint, that is olefins, gas to power, gas to fertilizer, gas to hydrogen, and many more. So that is the future. And this is the future for the steel industry. So today we are done, tomorrow somebody else will done, day after tomorrow many more people will do. Because we cannot keep on importing coking coal from Australia or from America or from Russia, all for next 100 years or 200 years. God has given us for 400 years of coal available in the country today. So this 400 years of coal is much enough, and we can cut down our import by at least $50 to $60 billion if we start utilizing coal to liquid, coal to HSD, coal to diesel, coal to petrol, coal to methanol, which is a proven process worldwide. It is not JSPL who has invented this technology. The technology was invented by Germans and by European companies and by American companies. So we have taken technology from Lurgi of Germany, and this technology was improvised by Chinese people. So they have simplified the technology. Our gasifiers were built by L&T in India. Now we are building our own gasifiers in our Raipur workshop. So we have a factory in Raipur, we make our own gasifiers now. And these gasifiers we can make for anybody who wants to start the gasification. The next challenge for the country is, today we speak 5% GDP or 5.5% GDP. Sometimes our apprehensions and our aspirations are that we want to, with 10% GDP. I think 5% to 6% GDP is a good growth when we compare to the whole world, because we have to see the barometer from where to where. And in this kind of scenario, if we can keep our cost under control, today Indian steel industry is producing steel at $320 or $330 a ton. It has to come to $260 or $270 a ton. So unless we reach to $260 a ton or $270 a ton, the liquid steel, the industry will not be competitive. So rightly said by Mr. Dilip Oman that how to reduce cost. The cost reduction has to come to a level so that Indian steel industry can produce steel at $260 per ton. So this is what we need to do. So there is a gap of about $50 to $60 today. So our today Indian steel industry's best cost is $310. So it has to come down to $260. So there is a gap of $50. And then only the companies can survive, sustain on the long-term basis. So the technology and the experience has to travel together. Now, country is aiming for 300 million ton, but I always say that we may not need 300 million ton in very near future. Because 300 million ton needs a lot of commitment from government also, because how many tons of steel they will be using in the government infrastructure projects. But yes, we should be aiming at least 200 million ton in next 10 years time. And to reach to 200 million ton, we need to put a lot of things into place, especially the infrastructure. So I always speak to government, to Ministry of Steel, Ministry of Coal, Ministry of Transport, that these are the areas where we have to strengthen first. So few takeaways from today's, I will not take much of time. Few takeaways. One, we must use the Indian coal for the coal gasification. Two, we must utilize our workshops and we must put up the new workshops to manufacture their own equipments. Number three, we should, if the government does not bring a policy that at least 60% of the equipment has to be built in India, at least the Indian steel industry should make it mandatory, their own constitution, that we will not import more than 50% of the equipment from outside. We'll import technology and we'll build each and every equipment here. The next is the steel cost has to be brought down to $250 or $260 per ton. The next is the design institutes are to be encouraged to come to the country, and we should have collaborations with the various design institutes in the world. So these are few takeaways, few points on technology front. Though the subject is very close to my heart, we can speak for n number of hours on this subject. But I'll conclude my speech with one more word, that consume less. Don't consume too much. The word which our friend Mr. Dilip Oman told, recycle, reuse, is tomorrow. We should not waste. We should do everything, recycling, reusable items. So whenever the steel is there, steel buildings, reuse them after 20, 30 years, 40 years. Recycle them. We should not be dependent on the virgin materials. We should consume less. Tomorrow's story is not consume more. I don't support that. Consume less. If you can maintain your car very well, why to scrap your car in 10 years' time? If you can maintain it for 15 years, 20 years, no problem. 25 years, no problem. What is the problem? You have to have the car, the norms under the pollution control norms. That's all. So my ambition is, if I were to decide, then I will advocate for consume less. I'll not advocate for 300 million or 1 billion, no. I'll be happy that if we do 150 million and we can manage the country. 180 million we can manage the country, or 200 million we can manage the country. 300 million is overburden. This is what I feel. I may not be correct, but this is what I feel today. So thank you very much.